Broadcasting live from the Meridics via OBS Studio Broadcast Center at Centennial Sportsplex. This is GNASH Hockey on the Middle Tennessee Sports Network. As now we turn our attention to the Predators Cup losers bracket final between four-seeded Brentwood and one-seeded Mount Juliet-Green Hill-Lebanon. Brentwood trying to complete an amazing comeback to the final, being knocked into the losers bracket on the first night of the tournament by Pope. They've avoided elimination by beating Rutherford. MBA had to go to OT to beat Father Ryan the other day. Mount Juliet beating Rutherford, beat Pope in the winners bracket, lost to Ravenwood on Monday. Trying to get back to the Preds Cup final for the second straight year, but this time they'll be the team that has to win twice. Unlike last year when they got in as the winners bracket winner, Ravenwood won the first game to force the if necessary and then won that. Now Juliet got to do the reverse, but first we got to decide who wins this one. As the Zamboni has now left the ice. So let's talk about the two teams playing this game. First up, Brentwood, coached by Chris Oram. Again, opened the Preds Cup with a 2-1 loss to Pope Prep CPA GCA in the first round on January 30th. Then 2 weeks ago tonight, February 1st, beat Rutherford Rampage 8-4 to stay alive. Last Wednesday in the losers bracket quarterfinal, beat Montgomery Bell 3-0. And then on Monday evening, in the losers bracket semifinal, had to come back from a 2-0 deficit, then had to make up a 3-2 deficit in order to force OT against Father Ryan. They won 4-3. Just 23 seconds was all they needed. Stevie Lipa scoring the game winner. So here are the stats for Brentwood coming into tonight. Hayden Bustici is the team's leading scorer. He has 9 points from 4 goals and 5 assists. Stevie Lipa, 8 points from 5 goals and 3 assists. Luke Hoffman, 5 points from 2 goals and 3 assists. Kyle Barberite, 4 points from a goal and 3 assists. Larson Smith, 4 points, all from assists. Dominic Campsu, 3 points from 2 goals and an assist. Ty Essenmacher, 3 points, all from assists. Will Hubbard, 2 points from a goal and an assist. Callahan Fielder, a point from a goal. Owen Seeley, Ryan Zarneski, and Lucas Bowman, each with a point from an assist. Play. The stats for Georgi Khachaturian are not correct. He's played in 2 games, the loss to Pope and the win over Rutherford. So his record is 1-1. He's played, by my approximation, 82 minutes. He was in for the full game against Rutherford. I think he was out for the last 2 minutes against Pope with a net empty. His goals against average 3.07. No shutouts. He's allowed 6 goals on 33 shots, turned away the other at 27. His save percentage the postseason so far is .820. Now, Paintfielder's stats are right. He has played Brentwood's last 2 games against MBA and Father Ryan, so his record is 2-0. Played just over 84 minutes, goals against average 1.49, 1 shutout. That was against MBA. He's allowed 3 goals on 48 shots, turned away the other 45. His save percentage in the postseason so far is .940. As both teams are, well, on the benches waiting for the officials to come out. So, well, we've got one official out here. If Mount Juliet win this game, even though they're the 1 seed, they will be the visiting team for next Wednesday because Ravenwood have come out of the winners bracket. If Mount Juliet force the if necessary game, then the bench assignments for the if necessary will revert to seeding, in which case Mount Juliet would be home as the 1, Ravenwood away as the 2. It's the same thing with the Hine Cup final next week. Even though Centennial are the 6 and USN are the 4, Centennial will be the home team because they came out of the winners bracket, and USN came out of the losers. But if USN force the if necessary, then the bench assignments will revert to seeding. USN as the 4 would be home. Centennial as the 6 would be away. But this game has to be played first in order for anything to happen. Well, I can't believe it. we have reached the penultimate game of the postseason that's not a championship game. This is the last game where if we go to overtime, it'll be sudden death 3-on-3 for 5 minutes, followed by a best-of-3 shootout. Starting next week with the championship games, it is a full 14-minute 5-on-5, followed by a best-of-5 round shootout. Mount Juliet-Green, Hill-Lebanon, though, are missing a big name. Blake Bristow. Oh, wow, I forgot to go over them. Ray Balls and Mount Juliet-Green, Hill-Lebanon. Jeez Louise, I forgot to go over Mount Juliet. Coached by Ray Balls, opened up the postseason with a 6-2 win over Rutherford on January 30th. Then last week, February 6th, in the winner's bracket semi, beat Pope 2-0, and then lost in the winner's bracket final 4-1 to Ravenwood on Monday night. So here are their stats so far coming into tonight. Jordan Antar with 5 points from 4 goals and an assist. Braylen Cox, 5 points from 2 goals and 3 assists. Ryan Woods and Kyle Alsaker each with 2 points from a goal and an assist. Wes Ray with a point from a goal. Blake Bristow and Carson Slocum each with a point from an assist. Robbie Simonik has played all 3 games in net. His record 2-1. He's played 126 minutes. Goals against average of 2, even 1 shutout that was against Pope. He's allowed 6 goals on 113 shots, turned away the other 107. His save percentage in the postseason is .950. Now let's talk about Blake Bristow. He is suspended. For the 4th time this year, he has been suspended. He has been suspended 6 games. Remember, after Liam Powell's goal on Monday night that made it 4-1, there was a pushing incident. Blake Bristow was involved and he got kicked out of the game. He has been suspended for 6 games. 1 game for 4 penalties in a game, 1 for persisting in any course of conduct for which previously has been assessed a misconduct penalty. And he got 4 games, 4, for a match penalty for use of language that is hateful or discriminatory. Now, Blake Bristow is a graduating senior, which means he will not serve that full suspension, even if Mount Juliet win tonight and then force the, if necessary, game. However many games he has left over, because he's a graduating senior and not coming back next year to play, will turn into a fine in the range of $300 if he ends up serving 3 of those games, 4 if he serves 2, or 1 if he $500. $400 if he only serves 2, $500 if he serves just tonight. It's his 4th suspension this season. He was suspended for 2 games last month for getting into a fight in the Rutherford game. Suspended for 3 games for an incident in the game against Pope on November 28th. And then he was suspended for 1 game back in October for grabbing an opponent's face mask against Brentwood. So his 4th suspension of the season, and his GNASH career is over. It's just really a shame. It really is a shame. So Mount Juliet will have to finish the regular season without him. Again, since this is a semifinal, there are 4 officials, 2 refs, 2 linesmen. Payne Fielder going to start in goal for Brentwood. Robbie Simonik going to start in goal for Mount Juliet. For this first period, Mount Juliet will carry the puck from my left to right, Brentwood from my right to left. Game is underway. Mount Juliet winning the opening draw. Easton Krensky, far side. Trying to send it towards the Brentwood zone, knocked down. Kyle Barberite brings it into the Mount Juliet zone on the right wing side. But then the puck is turned over to Braylen Cox. Cox Chips it ahead. Tried to catch up to it in the Brentwood zone. Barberite got in front of him. Tried to clear. Carson Slocum was sent to the showers early on Monday night. He got a 2 and 10 for head contact. But since it was 2 and 10, that was not a suspendable penalty, so he's playing tonight. Zane Cesaroni behind the Mount Juliet net, passing up to the left point to Stevie Lipa. Back down the wall to Jack Schultz. Schultz in the left wing corner. Schultz had the puck tapped away. Kyle Alsaker gets to it. Brings it out to center, crosses the red line, trying to dump it into the Brentwood zone. Puck taken away by Lipa at the red line. Sent back into the Mount Juliet end. Ryan Woods passing up the near side, intercepted at center by Luke Ohoffen. Back into the Mount Juliet zone. His shot hit the skates of Ryan Woods, popped up in the air, landed behind the net, put out in front, and whiffing on it from right in front was Larson Smith. And then a one-timer from Dominic Kamsu in the high slot went off a stick into the netting above the glass. And that took the first 74 seconds off the clock. 12:46 to go in the first. Draw is to the right of Simonik. Won by Brentwood. Shot from Aiden Pustitsi. Turned away by Simonik. Looked like it hit him in the mask. Here's Tyler Dubois. Dubois sending the puck around on the near boards. Aiden Pustitsi holds it in. Dominic Kamsu left point. Oh! Kamsu was just outside the zone when he got the puck and brought it in, so offside called. Draws on the dot in front of the Mount Juliet bench. Won by Mount Juliet. Oh, Aiden Pustitsi tipping a cross-ice pass attempt from Ryan Woods to Tyler Dubois. Puck out in front and swept away from the net. Parker Triplett has it at center. Now Wes Ray. Left wing side of the Brentwood zone. Ray sent it across the front of the net. It hit Payne Fielder on its way across. Now here's Luke Ohoffen, left wing side of the Mount Juliet zone. Puck poked away by Woods. Tried to put it in front. Woods broke that up. Here's Larson Smith out to the right wing side. Hands it off. Barberite moving down the wall. Goes below the goal line. Tried to pass up top to Kamsu. Went off the skates of Parker Triplett all the way back down into the Brentwood zone. Kamsu with it. Passing up the near side. And Smith knocked it back to Barberite. Barberite now back into the Mount Juliet zone left wing side. A shot hit the stick of Slocum and went past the net. Barberite trying to put it in front. Slocum caught it, dropped it, and then got knocked down by Lucas Bowman. Lipa left point, a shot. Went wide into the right wing corner. Pustitsi trying to put it in front. Hit a skate, and Jordan Antar is going to clear. Puck was on the red line. Ohoffen sends it back into the Mount Juliet zone. Easton Krensky doing a nice job keeping it away from Bowman. Ty Essenmacher almost stole it away from Krensky as he was skating. Then the puck was knocked off Krensky's stick by the skates of Connor Allen. Came towards the front of the net, and Robbie Simonik decides to cover it up to get a whistle. 10:55 left in the first, no goals on the board. Draw one by Mount Juliet. Parker Triplett out on the far side. Puck poked away from him. It's still at center. Brentwood with it now. Stevie Lipa will fire it into the Mount Juliet zone. Puck over on the far boards. Ty Essenmacher with it. Try to put it in front for Allen. Tapped away from the net by Easton Krensky. Puck comes up to the right point. Barber on a shot. Missed the net to the left of Simonik. Here's Stevie Lipa. Getting it behind the net for Allen. Puck poked away from Allen. Here's Parker Triplett. Passing ahead to Anthony Giampalo off his stick into the Brentwood zone. Lipa's going to get to it first. Lipa to center. Banks the puck off the near kick plate back into the Mount Juliet zone. He'll catch up to it. Trying to back it in front for Essenmacher, who deflects it into the glove of Simonik to get the whistle. 9:56 to go in the first. Still zip. Draw is to the right of Simonik. One by Brentwood. Dominic Kamsu shot blocked by Bobby Camos. Camos chases it to center. He has it in the Brentwood zone on the right wing side. He's pushed off the puck from behind by Kamsu, but I think Kamsu committed a penalty, and he's going to be sent to the box for it. Hooking will be the call against Kamsu. So Mount Juliet get the first power play of the game. No goals on the board. 9:45 left in the first. Draw is going to be to Payne Fielders left. Draw one by Mount Juliet. Braylen Cox passes across left circle. A shot from Kyle Allsaker, stopped and held onto by Payne Fielder. Forgot to mention these two teams met twice in the regular season. Brentwood won the first meeting 3-1 on October 24th. Mount Juliet won the second meeting 9-4 on January the 11th. It was senior night for Brentwood. Georgie Kachaturian, senior, played in goal that night. Draw is to the right of Fielder. Won by Brentwood, and they clear. Easton Krensky will track it down in the Mount Juliet zone. Krensky behind his own net. Carries it out to center. Into the Brentwood zone on the left wing. Takes a shot. Stopped by Fielder. It's in his glove. 86 seconds left in the power play. 9:12 to go in the first. Still zip-zip. Not a very big crowd on hand for this game. Draw is to the right of Fielder. One by Brentwood, they clear it. Here's Aiden Pustizzi at center. Into the Mount Juliet zone. A shot blocked by Krensky. Then he gets off a backhander with his back to the net. Stopped and covered up by Simonik. So the puck will be dropped to Simonik's left. We got some Brentwood students blowing noisemakers. That's that annoying noise you hear across the way. Draw one by Mount Juliet. Ryan Woods. Behind his own net, the puck swiped away by Larson Smith. Smith trying to get it out in front. Minute left in the power play for Mount Juliet. Braylen Cox with it now. Cox had it smacked away by Pustizzi. Cox will slap it around the boards to the far side. Sits center. Stevie Lipa with it. Passing ahead, intercepted Kyle Allsaker. Allsaker brings it back into the Brentwood zone on the right wing side. Tried to drive it back to Antar. Actually, no, he still has it. Allsaker does. Now Ryan Woods on the far side with it. Tried to pass up to the left point. Intercepted by Pustizzi. He's out at center. Pustizzi. 30 seconds left in the power play for Mount Juliet. Pustizzi tried to send it to the slot for Lipa. Cox tipped it past the Mount Juliet net. Here's Cox. Passing to the far side, Krensky. Krensky almost fumbled the puck near his own blue line. Krensky into the Brentwood zone on the left wing. Drops it back. Ryan Woods, a shot blocked. Gets it to the front of the net. Jordan Antar banging away, but Fielder turns it away. Brentwood with it, and they'll clear. Krensky drops it back to Braylen Cox. Penalty time against Brentwood is up. They're back at even strength. Krensky on the near side. Passing across Cox. Off his stick, back into the Brentwood zone it goes. Owen Seeley has it. Seeley across to the near side. I think it's Barberite behind his own net. Barberite ahead for Callahan Fielder, who taps it over to Jack Schultz, and then gives it away to Wes Ray. The puck is inside the Mount Juliet zone, though. Ray gives it away to Essenbacher, puts it in front. Fielder stopped, and the rebound cleared away from the net, held in. Kamsu a shot, stopped by Simonik, and he's got it covered. Simonik was laying down on that shot from Kamsu in the high slot. Oh, he had to be big just now. Essenmacher moved in and a shot went off the right leg pad of Simonik. And the rebound came up the slot while Simonik was down in the crease. Kamsu had a shot that went off Simonik's glove, landed behind him, and he managed to cover. Now Juliet cleared the puck. Brentwood sent it back in. There's Tyler Dubois sending it around to the near side. Parker Triplett. Now Wes Ray. Ray at center. Ray into the Brentwood zone on the right wing side. Puts the puck behind the net. It's over on the far boards. Kyle Barberite sending it around to the far side. Jack Schultz comes up with it. He'll bring it to center. Now on the Mount Juliet's own right wing side. Schultz a shot knocked away by Simonik. Rebound! Turned away by Simonik on Callahan Fielder. Fielder's pass going to go out to center. Sebi McClure with it. Hands it off to Kamsu. Kamsu back into the Mount Juliet zone on the right wing side. Taking a shot. Missed the net to the right of Simonik. Puck held in at the left point. Shot from Olhoffen. Went off the glove of Simonik. Puck on the far boards. Larson Smith. Knocked away from him. He'll catch back up to it at the end boards. Puck over on the far side, Kamsu. Now Larson Smith, right wing corner. Trying to put it out in front. Anthony Giampaolo swipes it out. Now Juliet will change the line. Brentwood getting the puck out of their zone. Smith at center. Passing up the far side. Aiden Bustizzi, right wing side of the Mount Juliet zone, drops it back. Shot from Luke Olhoffen off the stick of Braylen Cox into the netting above the glass. 5:40 to go in the first. Still no goals on the board. Draw is going to be to Simonik's left. Won by Brentwood. Connor Allen's shot was whiffed on. Here's Jordan Antar carrying it out. Taken away by Ty Essenmacher, sent back into the Mount Juliet zone. Easton Krensky with it. Ahead for Braylen Cox. Cox passing to center and Kyle Alsaker. Alsaker back into the Brentwood zone on the right wing side. Spins away. Oh, and tried to shoot, and I think it hit Antar. He gets up a shot stopped by Fielder. Comes up to the left point, a shot from Krensky. I think it was deflected past the net. Puck out at center on the far side, picked up by Cox. Cox had it poked away by Allen inside the Mount Juliet zone, but Krensky able to clear. Deflected into the Brentwood end by Antar. Puck comes to the far side of the net, and Payne Fielder decides to cover. 4:54 to go in the first. Still no goals on the board. Draw is to the right of Fielder. One by Brentwood. Puck sent into the Mount Juliet zone. Here's Easton Krensky. Trying to clear it. Held in Callahan. Fielder dropped it back, but nobody in a blue sweater was there. Dominic Kamsu at center. Passing to the far side, Jack Schultz. Tried to go across to Kamsu. It was broken up by Bobby Camos. Puck is in the Mount Juliet zone. Callahan Fielder, a shot. Stopped and covered up by Simonik. Fielder's shooting for the high slot. Draw will be to Simonik's right. Draw one by Brentwood. Owen Seeley out high. His shot missed the net to the left of Simonik. Jack Schultz in the right wing corner. Puck knocked away from him. Andrew Huffine pressed up against the boards. Callahan Fielder in the right circle. Passing across. Kamsu's shot missed the net to the right of Simonik. Puck in the right wing corner, Schultz. Schultz along the end boards. Now behind the net, pushed off the puck by Dubois. Puck over on the far side, Andrew Huffine. Tried to clear. Passed it up the boards, intercepted, but Zane Cicerone a shot off a stick and past the net. Ryan Woods clears. Puck back in the Brentwood zone, picked up by Owen Seeley. Kamsu with it now. Kamsu brings it into the Mount Juliet zone. He's over on the left wing. Around the back of the net. Put it in front. Oh, Larson Smith whips on it. One timer from Lipa, blocked by Alsaker, and out it goes. Oh, and now a steal inside the Brentwood zone by Antar, but he overskates it. Alsaker with it now. Gets up a shot. And I think it was blocked. Puck comes up to Dubois, and his shot off the glove of Fielder. Puck out at center and was brought back in offside. Just went over the blue line, pulled back in offside by Ryan Woods. 3:06 to go in the first. Still no goals on the board. Draw on the dot in front of the Brentwood bench. Won by Brentwood, but given away to Mount Juliet. Braylen Cox into the Brentwood zone on the left wing side. Taking a shot. Went across the front of the net. Carson Slocum sending it around the boards to the far side. Brentwood clear it out. Easton Krensky with it at center. Krensky passing over to the near side. Antar, who backhands it into the Brentwood end. Puck behind the net. Kyle Barberite sending it around to the far side. Here's Aiden Pustitsi. Pustitsi had it tapped away by Antar. Allsaker now. Backhands it across the front of the net. Braylen Cox going to get off the ice for Wes Ray. Puck still in the Brentwood zone. Ray with it up. Actually overskated it. Puck out at center. Aiden Pustitsi with it now. Into the Mount Juliet zone. Taking a shot. Knocked out with the glove of Simonik. He pulls in the rebound and covers. 2:15 left in the first. No goals on the board. Draws to Simonik's right. Looked like Brentwood won it. Taken by Mount Juliet. Wes Ray ahead to Anthony Giampaolo at center off his stick. Ray brings it back into the Brentwood zone, but Giampaolo had been knocked down inside the zone. So offside. Draw on the dot in front of the Brentwood bench. Won by Brentwood. Nope. Icing waved off as they get it down ice. Carson Slocum banks it off the far boards. Held in at the right point, Sebi McClure. Puck ends up loose. Ty Essenmacher, a shot missed the net to the left of Simonik. Connor Allen sending it around to the far side. Here is McClure at the right point. Getting it back down the wall. Puck put in front. Essenmacher, a backhander with his back to the net. Off the right leg pad of Simonik. Triplet ahead to Anthony Giampaolo. Hopped over his stick into the Brentwood end for an icing. 96 seconds left in the first. Still zip. Draw to the right of Simonik. Won by Brentwood. Stevie Lipa left point. His shot slowed up by the stick of Allsaker. Puck comes to the end boards. Woods trying to clear. Held into the left point by Lipa. Battling with Allsaker. And it is just over the blue line. Sent back in by Zane Cicerone. Ryan Woods passes ahead to Antar at center. Jordan Antar. Left wing side of the Brentwood zone. Sends it deep. Lipa going to catch up to it on the right wing corner. Brentwood trying to clear. Held in by Allsaker. Now here's Cox looking for room. His shot stopped by Fielder. He's got it covered. It looked like Antar may have gotten a tip standing on the left-hand side of the net. Fielder able to stop and cover. 64 seconds left in the first. No goals on the board yet. Draw is going to be to Fielder's left. Draw one by Brentwood. They try and clear. They do. Last minute of the first. Jack Schultz in the Mount Juliet zone. Left wing side. Tried to toe drag. Puck got away from him. It's still coming to the front of the net. Simonik pokes it away. Held into the right point by Barberite. Passed over to Leap out high. His shot hit a Mount Juliet leg. Went over to the near boards. Tyler Dubois across to Kyle Allsaker at center. Allsaker into the Brentwood zone. Allsaker moving to the right circle. A shot off the left leg pad of Fielder. Whiffing on the rebound attempt was Cox. Now here's Ryan Woods trying to move down the right wing. Puck stolen from him. 30 seconds left in the period. Antar gets it back. Still inside the Brentwood zone. Puck behind the net. Puck out over on the far boards. Cleared out. Easton Krensky. Passing ahead to Cox. Off his stick. It's in the Brentwood zone. Bruins have it. Aiden Bustitsi looking for a stretch pass to the Mount Juliet blue line, but he was double teamed and he reached out for that stretch pass. It missed his stick and goes deep for an icing. 8.5 seconds to go in the first. Still zip. Draw will be to the right of Fielder. Brentwood win the draw. Try and clear. Held into the left point. There's a shot. Oh, just missed the net. It was a shot from Krensky at the left point. And Allsaker was hanging out in front. I guess it tipped off his stick and went wide. And that is it for the first. So Brentwood, Mount Juliet-Green, Hill-Lebanon exit the first period with the same score the game started as, 0-0 in the Predators Cup Losers Bracket Final. Payne Fielder still in goal for Brentwood. Robbie Simonik still in goal for Mount Juliet. For this second period, Brentwood will move the puck from my left to right, Mount Juliet from my right to left. As Brentwood win the draw to start the second, Owen Seeley passes up the far side to Luke Olhoffen, who deflects the puck into the Mount Juliet zone. Easton Krensky catches up to it. Behind the net, comes around to the near side. Whips it up the far side. It's in the Brentwood zone. Dominic Kamsu has it around the back of his own net. Drops it behind the net for Owen Seeley. Banks it off the far glass and out to center. Hop past the stick of Carson Slocum. Here's Aiden Bustisi with a shot in the Mount Juliet zone. Blockered into the netting above the glass by Simonik. That took the first 34 seconds of the second off the clock. 13:26 left in the middle frame. Zip, zip. Draw to the right of Simonik. Won by Brentwood. Stevie Lipa sending it around the boards to the near side. Carried out by Anthony Giampaolo. Tried to pass across. It was broken up. Wes Ray with it now. Wes Ray into the Brentwood zone on the left wing. Ray's shot broken up with a stick of Barbarite. Puck ends up behind the net. Puck comes over to the near side now. Giampaolo nudging it along the kick plate. Larson Smith with it. Knocked into the boards by Ray. Now Giampaolo gets off an on-angle shot, stopped by Fielder. Rebound passed ahead to Aiden Bustisi. Bustisi out at center. Bustisi into the Mount Juliet zone. Pass across to Barbarite, went off the boards. Olhoffen controlled it. It poked away by Parker Triplett. Now here's Ray. Wes Ray, left wing side of the Brentwood zone. Shot hit actually he whiffed on it. On the follow-through, his stick hit the shins of Lucas Bowman. Bowman cleared, now puck back in the Brentwood zone. Here's Stevie Lipa. Clearing it out up the far glass. Easton Krensky fires it back into the Brentwood zone. Puck coming around to the near side. Carson Slocum drops it back. Krensky going to shoot it on goal from his own blue line. Fielder stops and decides to cover with Jordan Antar coming in. 12:10 left in the second. No goals on the board. Draw to Fielder's left. Those Brentwood students have been blowing on the noisemakers the entire time. How do you not run out of breath? Draw to Fielder's left. Won by Mount Juliet. Ryan Wood shot in the right point. Blocked up. Hand pass called against Mount Juliet. So they'll drop the puck outside the zone on the dot in front of the bleachers across from the Mount Juliet bench. It's won by Brentwood. Dominic Kamsu ahead for Lucas Bowman. Puck in the Mount Juliet zone. Ryan Woods tried to clear, banked it off the boards, came to Tyler Dubois. Leaves it to the end boards for Woods. Woods lost the puck. Bowman Sends it across the front of the net. Here's Braylen Cox. Clearing it to center. Sevi McClure dropping it to the far side, and Kamsu. Dominic Kamsu. Lost the puck. Connor Allen tried to backhand it into the Brentwood zone. Was knocked down to the blue line by Jordan Antar. Puck now over on the far boards inside the Mount Juliet end. Ryan Woods will clear. Connor Allen kicks it back in. Offside. Ty Essemacher was still clearing the zone. Jordan Antar, the puck stolen off him by Bowman. So offside called against the Bruins. 11:28 left in the second. Still zip. Draw will be on the dot in front of the bleachers across from the Mount Juliet bench. And Mount Juliet going to change the entire line for this draw. Draw one by Brentwood. Dominic Kamsu. Ahead for Jack Schultz. Now Zane Cicerone deflects it into the Mount Juliet zone, but it's intercepted and cleared out by Krensky. Now Wes Ray with it in the Brentwood zone. Puck tapped away from him. It's out at center. Carson Slocum drops it back to Krensky. Krensky ahead, hit a body. Ooh, Bobby Camos had it in the Brentwood zone, but lost it. It was cleared. Now here's Slocum crossing the red line, flipping it back into the Brentwood zone. Puck knocked over to the near side. Up Dominic Kamsu, the stick knocked out of his hand, trying to get away from Wes Ray. Puck put in front by Ray, intercepted by fielder. Jack Schultz will carry it out. Callahan fielder in this case. Schultz now into the Mount Juliet zone. Right wing side. Tried to drop it back, but nobody in a blue sweater was there. Schultz with it now on the inboards, trying to put it in front. Intercepted by Wes Ray. Don't give it away. Cicerone. Not a hard shot. Oh, and then out of position with Slocum. Puck got I'm sorry, it was Simonik, but the puck got away. Lipa sends it back to the inboards. Here's Krensky. Mount Juliet escaping that one there. Krensky brings it to center, but can't get around Larson Smith. Smith flips it back into the Mount Juliet zone. Slocum will catch up to it. Knocked into the boards. Here's Bobby Camos sending it around to the far side. Cullen McDermott. McDermott will clear. Lipa at center. Ahead for Pustizzi. Pustizzi back into the Mount Juliet zone. Slap shot. Gloved and held on to by Robbie Simonik. 9:51 to go in the second. Still no goals on the board. Draws to the left of Simonik. One by Mount Juliet. Puck over on the far boards. Kyle Alsaker ahead for Jordan Antar at center. Antar into the Brentwood zone, left wing side. Shot stopped by fielder. He'll pull in the rebound and cover. Payne fielder, I should say. Although Callahan is not on the ice at this time. Draw is to the right of fielder. One by Brentwood, Kyle Barberite. Backhanding it over to the far side, Stevie Lipa. Lipa fires it ahead, bounces over the stick of Aiden Pustizzi, who was waiting at the Mount Juliet blue line. Tyler Dubois with a puck. He's swarmed by Olhoffen, but he manages to clear it out up the far boards. Lipa tried to dump it back in. Smith does dump it back in. Here is Ryan Woods sending it around the near side boards. Braylen Cox has it, carries to the far side of his own zone, and he'll exit. Getting around Barberite. Cox now into the Brentwood zone. Passing it towards the far boards. Kyle Alsaker with it. Put it in front. Oh, but it slides by Jordan Antar. Now Olhoffen flips it through the air. Up, played with a high stick by Ryan Woods, and then touched, I think, on the back check by Dubois. 8:48 left in the second. Still no goals on the board. Draws to the left of Simonik. One by Mount Juliet. Puck carried to center. Tyler Dubois. Dubois into the Brentwood zone on the right wing side. Goes into the boards with Dominic Kamsu. Puck in the right wing corner. Dubois passing it up to the right point. A one-timer. Kyle Alsaker turned away by fielder. Allsaker, right circle shot over the net. Puck on the near boards. Here's Braylen Cox. Has to pass it out to the far side, but nobody in a white sweater was there. It's back at center. Now Cox. Now Allsaker brings it back into the Brentwood zone. Across to Antar on the right wing. Antar shot at the stick of Campsu. Went into the right wing corner. Puck sent around to the near side. Puck out at center. Here's Wes Ray. Drops it back. Ryan Woods with it. Woods. Carries to center. Into the Brentwood zone on the right wing side. Takes a shot. Went through the crease. And passed the net to the right of Payne Fielder. Allsaker sends it down low to Ryan Woods. Woods getting it over to the near boards, but Allsaker didn't see Woods trying to give it to him. Now here's Callahan Fielder in the Mount Juliet zone on the left wing. Chased to the far wall. Pushed away from the puck by Antar. Poked away from a Mount Juliet player and a shot. Messemacher turned away by Simonik. Puck in front. Oh, and Callahan Fielder couldn't get a stick on it. Here's Antar at center. Bringing it back into the Brentwood zone. Taken away by Seeley and cleared. Here's Easton Krensky. Back in his own zone, passing to the near side. Carson Slocum, who brings it to center. Slocum crosses the red line. Fires it into his own bench, trying to dump it. .7:04 to go in the second. Still zip. Draw's going to be right at center ice. Won by Brentwood, Stevie Lipa. Backhands the puck into the Mount Juliet zone. It's in the right wing corner. Zane Cicerone behind the net. Puck comes out in front. Now it's over on the far boards. Parker Triplett drops it down low. Carson Slocum. Ahead to Triplett, who lets it go off his skate and out to center. Triplett across to, Giampaolo watches it go into the Brentwood zone, tried to poke it ahead. Barberite gets in front of Giampaolo and flips it through the air to center. Slocum, now Krensky. Back to Slocum. Slocum. Ahead to Braylen Cox off the bench. Cox deflects the puck back into the Brentwood zone. Lipa on the far boards. Passing ahead to Bustizzi. Hopped off Bustizzi's stick. It's in the Mount Juliet zone. Krensky with it. Got Bustizzi on him. Krensky goes to the boards and forces Bustizzi to skate away from him. Krensky passing ahead to Triplett. Puck out at center. Here's Larson Smith passing to the far side. Triplett sends it back into the Brentwood zone. It's rolling towards the front of the net. Fielder steers it away with a stick. Here's Barberite. Barberite at center. Gets the puck into the Mount Juliet zone. Luke Ohoffen, left wing. Trying to put it in front. Now the puck is behind the net. And hit a couple sticks behind the net, and I think touched the netting above the glass. 5:29 to go in the second. Still no goals on the board in this one. Draw is going to be to Robbie Simonik's right. Draw one by Mount Juliet. Kyle Allsaker at center. Into the Brentwood zone. Double team, but still manages to send the puck past the front of the net. Now the puck is behind the net. Allsaker over in the right wing corner. Puck sent away from him by Larson Smith. And Brentwood able to clear. To the Mount Juliet zone. Jordan Antar will track it down to kill off the icing. Pass it around to the far side. And Ryan Woods trying to drop it back behind the net. Here's Antar. Antar ahead for Braylen Cox. Cox at center. Now Allsaker, left wing side of the Brentwood zone. Cox across to Antar. To Allsaker across to Cox. And his shot from the right circle is gloved and held onto by Payne Fielder. 4:47 left in the second. Still no goals on the board in the Preds Cup Losers Bracket final. Brentwood will change the line. Draw to the left of fielder, won by Brentwood. Dominic Kamsu sending it around on the near boards. Sebi McClure trying to clear. He's got the puck over on the far side. Now he'll exit the zone. Into the Mount Juliet end of the left wing side. Backhands it up towards the left point. Connor Allen overskates it, sends it back down the wall to McClure. Puck on the left wing corner. McClure pushed into the boards. Here's Tyler Dubois sending the puck around to the far side. Jordan Antar flips it through the air to center. Kyle Allsaker knocked it down. And they're going to call, I think, a hand pass. Oh, it's a penalty. Okay. Jordan Antar is a penalty behind the play. No, it's a roughing call against Brentwood. Okay. Because Allsaker knocked it down with his hand. It's against Connor Allen. Okay. So Mount Juliet are going to get their first power play of the game. No goals on the board. 4:11 to go in the second. Draws to the left of Payne Fielder. Mount Juliet for the top power play line, mixing some of their second and first lines together. They got Wes Ray in centering Jordan Antar and Ryan Woods, and the defensive pair are Allsaker and Krensky. Antar on the far boards, backhands the puck into the right wing corner. Wes Ray gets to it. Try to pass up top, but Krensky has to chase it back into his own zone. Wes Ray called to the bench. Krensky passing ahead to Antar. Braylen Cox on the ice now. Antar, left wing side of the Brentwood zone. Shot, stopped by Fielder. He's got it underneath his legs. 85 seconds left in the power play. 3:36 to go in the second. Still no goals on the board. Draw is going to be to the right of Fielder. Won by Mount Juliet. Easton Krensky, left point. Passes down the wall, went past the stick of Allsaker. Trying to clear was Kyle Barberite, but it floats right to Allsaker. Now Krensky, left point, back down to Allsaker, left circle. Allsaker across to Antar. Antar backhands it down the wall to the end boards, behind the net. Lipa. Stevie Lipa trying to clear, knocked down by Cox. Comes to Callahan Fielder, he'll clear. A minute left in the power play for Mount Juliet. Krensky will track it down. Krensky. Bumped into Lipa, who went down. Here's Jordan Antar ahead for Woods. Right wing side of the Brentwood zone. Woods drops it back. Antar over to the slot. Cox's shot hit the shins of Barberite. Held in by Krensky. Krensky down the wall to Antar, who drops it behind the net for Woods. Woods out in front, misses Cox. Goes past Antar and out. Under 30 seconds left in the power play for Mount Juliet. Here is Krensky. Now Antar. Drops it back, Krensky. Antar again. Now Cox, right wing side of the Brentwood zone. Tried to send it to the front of the net, intercepted by Lipa and cleared. Puck behind the net. Simonik leaves it for Krensky. Krensky over to Cox. Penalty time against Brentwood is up. They're back at even strength. Stretch past Antar up the far side. Antar in the Mount Juliet zone up against the boards. Lipa ahead to Schultz. Jack Schultz at center. Schultz into the Mount Juliet zone left wing side. Tried to flip it to the slot. Nobody on blue sweaters there. Zane Cicerone catches up to it. Tried to leave it on the right wing boards, but it's picked up by Ryan Woods and sent around to the far side. Lipa trying to hold it in. He's pushed away from the puck. Woods catches up to it on the far side, but Pustici drops it back behind the net. Here's Easton Krensky. Krensky's going to skate it to center. Krensky into the Brentwood zone on the left wing. Oh, could not get around Kyle Barberite, who poked the puck away. Cleared down ice by Carson Slocum. Or cleared down ice by Pustici, caught up to by Slocum. Antar. Now Tyler Dubois. To the far side. Slocum out, hopped off the boards. Pustici has it. Pustici left wing side of the Mount Juliet zone. Backhands it across the front of the net. Puck in the right wing corner. Here's Dubois behind the net, pushed off the puck. Slocum with it now. Last minute of the second. Slocum fires it to the far side and out. Owen Seeley over to Dominic Kamsu. Kamsu passing up the near side. Aiden Pustici pushed into the boards by Anthony Giampalo. Here's Owen Seeley. Passing it to the far side. Hit the boards. It's in the Mount Juliet zone. Carson Slocum clears. Parker Triplett. Drops it back to Slocum, who fires it ahead. Hit a Brentwood, sticking it up in the Brentwood zone. Campsu skates it out. 30 seconds left in the period. Puck still at center. Aiden Pustizzi. Now Larson Smith drops it back to Seeley. Inside the Brentwood zone. Pass to the far side. And Barberite, I think. And Barberite sends the puck back into the Mount Juliet zone. No, it was Olhoffen who dumped that in. Icing was waved off. Puck held into the blue line by Olhoffen. It's at the inboards. Dubois pins it up against the kick plate, and that's going to be it for the second. Well, the game started with a score of 0-0, and after 2 periods, it is still Brentwood 0, Mount Juliet-Green Hill-Lebanon 0 in the Predators Cup Losers Bracket Final. Shots on goal, according to the board, are even at 14 apiece. Robbie Simonik still in goal for Mount Juliet. Payne Fielder still in goal for Brentwood for this third period. Mount Juliet will skate the puck from my left to right, Brentwood from my right to left. Will we see a goal in regulation, or will we go to overtime? Going to answer that question over the next 20 minutes. I know it's 14 minutes, but I'm talking real world time. Here is Jack Schultz in the Mount Juliet zone. Knocked down on the right wing side by Easton Krensky trying to get around him. Carson Slocum going to end up sending the puck back into the Brentwood zone. It went through traffic. Icing waved off. Kyle Barberite at his own inboards. Over to Jack Schultz. Schultz at center. Into the Mount Juliet zone left wing side. Gets off a shot. Hit the stick of Slocum. Went into the glass. Still in play though. Callahan Fielder in the slot. A shot stopped by Robbie Simonik. Rebound cleared out from in front. Barberite dumps it back in, even though Jack Schultz still has to get back on side. Here's Easton Krensky. Krensky. Oh, almost gave it away to Larson Smith inside the zone. Here's Sebi McClure. Aiden Bustizzi on the right wing boards. Pushed on the boards. Smith with it now. Puts it behind the net for Wes Ray. Sends it around to the near side. Parker Triplett gets it out. Big battle for the puck at center. Anthony Giampaolo backhands it into the Brentwood zone. Stevie Lipa catches up to it. Sends it around to the near side. Now Aiden Pustizzi. No, correction, it's Kyle Barberite bringing it into the Mount Juliet zone. Ryan Woods with it now. He'll clear. Puck sent back in by Barberite. It's behind the net. Ryan Woods with it. Woods getting it over to the far side. Up, Pustizzi with it. Aiden Pustizzi, right wing corner, pushed into the boards. Braylen Cox nudging it around to the near side. Luke Olhoffen gets there, sends it to the front of the net, off the stick of Larson Smith, into the netting above the glass. Oh, it's just saying it went off of Mount Juliet's stick, I guess. 12 minutes left in regulation. Still no goals on the board. Draw is going to be to the right of Robbie Simonik. Draw one by Mount Juliet. Puck over on the near boards. Sent around to the far side by Olhoffen. Here's Jordan Antar. Antar passing ahead to Kyle Allsaker, actually hopped past his stick at center. Now Tyler Dubois takes the puck back, gets it back into the Brentwood zone. Dominic Kamsu behind the net. Banks it off the far boards. Aiden Bustizzi at center. Into the Mount Juliet zone on the right wing. Holds his shot past the net. Alvin tried to put it in front. Knocked away by Simonik. Olhoffen with it again. Passes down the left wing. Intercepted by Dubois. He tries to clear. Sevi McClure pulls it off the blue line. So Brentwood had to get back on side. Puck back in the Mount Juliet zone. Ryan Woods with it. Trying to pass ahead to Allsaker, but we get a whistle. And we're going to have a penalty, a tripping call against Mount Juliet. Brentwood going to get their first power play of the game. It's Jordan Antar to the box. 11:03 to go in regulation. No goals on the board. Ray Ball's trying to plead his case to Mike O'Neill, who's one of the two referees. Again, it's a semifinal, so it's a four-referee system, or four-official system. 2 refs, 2 linesmen. Draw to the right of Simonik. Can Brentwood score in this power play? We'll see. They win the draw. But Kyle Allsaker intercepts the puck from Aiden Bustizzi and clears it. Bustizzi with it at center. Bustizzi. Now Luke Olhoffen, right wing side of the Mount Juliet zone. Carries it into the right wing corner. Passes up top to the right point. Kamsu. Dominic Kamsu, shot hit the post to the left of Simonik. It's the first time either team's hit iron. Here's Olhoffen on the right half wall. Back down low to Smith. Smith. Around the back of the net. Lipa. Knocked down by Kyle Allsaker. Ryan Woods will carry the puck out. Woods splits defenders in the Brentwood zone. His shot off the stick of Kamsu still came on goal. And Payne Fielder had a glove and hang on to it. 68 seconds left in the power play. 10-11 to go in regulation. This game is still tied at 0. Draws to the left of Fielder. It's won by Brentwood. Stevie Lipa behind his own net. Minute left in the power play. Over to Barberite. Across to Callahan Fielder at center. Leaves it for Lipa. Left wing side of the Mount Juliet zone. Lipa. Shot. Stopped and held onto by Simonik. Into his chest. Draw be to Simonik's right. Draw one by Brentwood. Lipa across to Barberite, who drops it down into the right wing corner. Up, Zane Cicerone stumbled. East Kritzky tried to clear. Cicerone put the stick down. Comes out to the far boards. Anthony Giampalo chips it out. Callahan Fielder sends it back into the Mount Juliet zone. Kritzky with it again. He'll fire it out. 30 seconds left of the power play for Brentwood. Here's Lipa. Lipa. Far side at center. Into the Mount Juliet zone. On the right wing side, his shot at the stick of Kritzky into the netting above the glass. 19 seconds left in the power play. 9:23 left in regulation. There are still no goals on the board. Draws to the left of Simonik. Won by Brentwood. Owen Seeley, right point. Across to Kamsu, left point. Kamsu, a shot. Stopped by Simonik. Rebound. Fielder, shot. Stopped. Another shot. Stopped. And Simonik sitting on it with his legs stretched out. Jack Schultz was in there. Fielder was in there. Kamsu got in there. But Simonik came up big. 8 seconds left in the man advantage for Brentwood. Draw be to the left of Simonik. Won by Mount Juliet. Tyler Dubois carries it to the end boards. Got Fielder on him. Penalty time against Mount Juliet is up. They're back at even strength. Puck in the right wing corner. Pass ahead to Jordan Antar, who's out of the box. Antar at center, into the Brentwood zone now. Left wing side, a shot turned away by Fielder. Puck behind the net. And a pass up to the left point, hopped over the stick of Dubois and out. Ryan Woods will track it back down. Woods passing up the far side, Dubois. Dubois brings it back into the Brentwood zone. Puck at the inboards. Kamsu behind the net. Poked away. Dubois puts it out in front. Allsaker shot in the slot. Stopped. Rebound. Stopped by Fielder on Antar. Allsaker. Pass up to the left point. Oh, Dubois just kept it in the zone. Now it's cleared out by Ty Essenmacher. Woods gives it away to Essenmacher in the Mount Juliet zone, but he gets on to Essenmacher and pushes him off the puck. It's loose in the slot, picked up by Allsaker. Excellent D by Dubois on that back check. Now here's Bowman. Back in the Mount Juliet zone. Slap shot, hit a stick and went past the net. Krinsky falls over the inboards. Connor Allen getting it around to the far side. Now here's Easton Krinsky. Krinsky fires it off the near boards and out. Barberite will bring it back in. Barberite shot, stopped and held onto by Simonik. 7:34 to go in regulation. Still zip. Draw will be to Simonik's right. Draw one by Mount Juliet. Carson Slocum passing over to the right wing corner. Intercepted. Aiden Bustizzi sending it up the wall. Krinsky catches up to it. Sends it out to center. It's back in the Brentwood zone. Kyle Barberite will clear. Slocum with it again at center. Sends it back into the Brentwood zone. Puck over on the far boards. Stevie Lipa going to end up icing the puck. 7:05 to go in regulation. Still zip. Draw be to Payne Fielder's right. One by Mount Juliet. Brentwood swarming. Puck pinned up against the kick plate on the far side by Easton Krinsky. Krinsky gets loose. Carries it down to the left wing corner. That's sent around to the near side. Here's Luke Ohoffen. Tried to pass ahead. Hit the back of Bobby Camos, I think. Aiden Pustizzi's going to carry it out. Pustizzi into the Mount Juliet zone. Right wing side. Oh, put it in front for Ohoffen. Went past the front of his stick. Camos tried to pass, intercepted Pustizzi. Pustizzi a shot, missed the net to the right of Simonik. Puck on the near boards. Wes Ray tried to pass ahead to Parker Triplett. It's going to be an icing. 6:23 to go in regulation. Still zip. These two played a classic losers bracket final 2 years ago in 2021. Mount Juliet had a 3-2 lead when Ben Byron scored with 2 seconds left in regulation. And then Ethan Pustizzi scored the game winner in overtime. Draw to the right of Simonik. One by Mount Juliet. They try and clear. Held in Ohoffen. Comes back to Ryan Woods, who clears this time. Allsaker at center. Hands it off Braylen Cox. Cox, right wing side of the Brentwood zone. Gives him a shot. It's in! It goes in off the inside of the right-hand post. Braylen Cox has broken the deadlock. 1-0 Mount Juliet. 6:11 left in regulation. Is that the goal that sends them to the final? Cox's shot looked like it came in, and Fielder wasn't ready for it. Looked like it went in the space between his right arm and the right side of his body. He had his arm bent at the elbow and went it off the post. There's Ryan Woods backhanding it across the front of the net. Now Ryan Woods lost the puck. Luke Ohoffen into the Mount Juliet zone on the right wing side. Forced past the net. Cox trying to clear up the far wall, held in Kamsu, but it comes to Dubois, ahead for Antar. Antar going to chase it into the Brentwood zone. He has it. Taps it down the right wing side. Brentwood with it now. Olhoffen. Far side, Pustici. Into the Mount Juliet zone. Past the slot off the stick of Smith. Comes on goal. Stopped and covered up by Simonik. 5:36 left in regulation. 1-0 Mount Juliet. Draws to the left of Simonik. Won by Brentwood. Kyle Barberite sends it to the left wing corner. Puck whipped around to the far boards, held into the right point. Cicerone to the slot for Fielder. Oh, but he fumbled it. Anthony Giampaolo just with enough momentum to clear it out. Stevie Lipa. Callahan Fielder. Now Lipa. Over to the far side, Barberite. Back in the Mount Juliet zone on the right wing side. Pushed off the puck. It's in the left wing corner. Easton Krinsky digs it loose. Comes out to the far side. He'll carry to center. Past the red line. Into the Brentwood zone, taking a shot off the left leg pad of Fielder. Krinsky now, right wing corner. Comes around the back of the net, puck over on the far side. Here come Brentwood. Back in the Mount Juliet zone, up. Puck got away from Jack Schultz. Anthony Giampaolo clears. Stevie Lipa. Back into the Mount Juliet zone. Around the back of the net, trying to put it in front for Connor Allen. Went off a Mount Juliet stick. Allen sends it to the far boards. It's in the right wing corner. Anthony Giampaolo will clear it. Lucas Bowman with it at center. Across to Lipa. Lipa. Over to the far side, Owen Seeley. Now Ty Essenmacher back in the Mount Juliet zone. Puts it behind the net. Krinsky will slap it down ice. And went through the legs of Kamsu, so that killed off the icing. Kamsu. Back into the Mount Juliet zone on the left wing side. Puck tapped off his stick by Woods. Kamsu comes out to the far side. Pass across. Oh, rolled over the stick of Pustici in the bottom of the left circle. Puck is behind the net. Ty Essenmacher over to Pustici. Pustici comes out in front. A shot blocked. Gets on another shot that misses the net to the left of Simonik. Now here's Cox. Flipping it ahead at center. Into the Brentwood zone. Looked like he was going to get past Pustici, but he fumbled the puck a bit. Pass up the far boards, Essenmacher, right wing side of the Mount Juliet zone. His shot, gloved and held onto by Robbie Simonik. 2:51 to go in regulation. Still 1-0 Mount Juliet. Drawby to Simonik's left. Won by Mount Juliet. Puck in the right wing corner. Easton Krinsky flips it through the air and out. Lipa couldn't keep it in. Larson Smith brings it back in, but Eden Pustici had not exited the zone. Offside. Smith in Slocum's ear after the whistle. Drawing the dot in front of the Mount Juliet bench. Won by Brentwood. Kyle Barberite. Ahead for Pustici. Now Larson Smith. Tried to dump it in the Mount Juliet zone. It hit. Parker Triplett went right back out. Luke Olhoffen. Back in his own zone, passing to the far side. Now across to Lipa. Lipa. Poked off his stick at the Mount Juliet blue line by Triplett. Lipa, one of many Brentwood seniors, hoping that the last 2 minutes and 10 seconds of this game are not the final 2:10 of his GNASH career. Here is Kyle Barberite. Back into the Mount Juliet zone. Puck poked away by Triplett. Comes back to Barberite. Barberite Tried to send it to the far side of the net, knocked down by Simonik. He covers. Minute 56 left in regulation. It's still 1-0 Mount Juliet. Brentwood have pulled the goaltender, and they are calling a timeout. Oh, my goodness. So Brentwood with the net empty. Timeout done. Draw's going to be to the left of Robbie Simonik. The net will be empty for Brentwood. They have the extra attacker. They win the draw. Stevie Lipa right point. Over to Kyle Barberite at the left point. Barberite sends it down the wall. Luke Hoffen behind the net. Passes out to the far side. Intercepted Jordan Antar. He'll clear it. Went off of Brentwood's stick. Icing. It looked like it went off of Brentwood's stick as it exited the zone. The two referees chatting about it. Minute 41 left. They're going to drop the puck to the left of Simonik, it looks like. Well, no, we got. No, they took it back. They said no icing. Draw's going to be at center ice. So the officials talked it over. Actually, it's going to be in the Brentwood zone, so Payne Fielder's going to have to come back into the crease. So Brentwood will have to have a player leave the ice. Draw be to Fielder's left. Draw one by Brentwood. Puck sent into the Mount Juliet zone. Ryan Woods catches up to it. He passes ahead to Kyle Allsaker at center. Puck back in the Brentwood zone. Lipa up the far boards. Olhoffen. Payne Fielder being called back to the bench. So the Brentwood net is empty again. Olhoffen around the back of the Mount Juliet net. Out to the left wing. Put in front. Oh, Larson Smith was there. Puck up at the right point. Lipa. Lipa's shot. Actually, he's going to drop it down the wall behind the net. Here's Krensky. Whipping it around to the far boards. Jordan Antar taps it out. Last minute of regulation. Puck sent back into the Brentwood zone. Mount Juliet zone. Ryan Woods will clear. Off the hand of Barber right back into the Brentwood end. Here's Stevie Lipa. Puck knocked off his stick right at the Mount Juliet blue line. Barberite brings it back in. But he gives it away to Braylen Cox. And Cox is going to send it into the empty Brentwood net. And Mount Juliet are going to win the game. It's 2-0 with 33 seconds exactly to go. Cox with both the Mount Juliet's goals. And Brentwood's hopes of coming all the way through the loser's bracket after losing in the first night to Pope are going to be dashed. Barberite's cross-ice pass from right inside the Mount Juliet zone was intercepted by Cox, and he scored. Carried it down ice. Draw one by Mount Juliet. Ryan Woods dumps it into the Brentwood zone. Dominic Kamsu playing the final unless Brentwood can come back. 20 seconds of his GNASH career, gets off a shot that's over the Mount Juliet net. Kyle Allsaker clears. Aiden Bustizzi, right wing side of the Mount Juliet zone, gets off a shot, stopped by Simonik. Rebound turned away by Simonik. Final 5 seconds, Olhoffen puts it out in front, tapped away, comes up to the blue line, shot by Zarneski, deflected, it ended up in the back of the net, but it doesn't matter. Time runs out, and Mount Juliet-Green Hill-Lebanon are returning to the Predators Cup final as they beat Brentwood 2-0. Braylen Cox with both goals inside the final period. What a game. What a game. A fabulous showdown. But it's Mount Juliet who come away with a victory. And it's Mount Juliet who are going to the Predators Cup final again. Mount Juliet in the regular season, I'm going to have to pull up their record here. Mount Juliet in the regular season, I think only won 6 out of the 14 games they played. I got to pull up the GNASH Cup standings because that tells me the full regular race. I think finished 4th in the GNASH Cup race. Went 7. Mount Juliet went 7-6-1 in their 14 regular season games in the GNASH Cup race. In the first part of the regular season, they went 2-4-1. They went 5-2 in the second half to gain the 1 seed. They are into the Predators Cup final against Ravenwood next Wednesday night in Bellevue. Can they do it? Can they beat Ravenwood next Monday or next Wednesday and force the, if necessary, game on the 27th? It is going to be hard. Braylen Cox scoring both goals in the third period. He and Robbie Simmons game. I got to give Robbie a share because he was fantastic in net tonight. Just brilliant. Just utterly brilliant. And Brentwood, they are about to lose a whole bunch of seniors. A whole bunch. Georgie Kachaturian, but Payne Fielder's around for a couple more years, so they're fine in goal. Stevie Lipa, that's a big loss. Ryan Zarneski. Kyle Barberite, that's a big loss on defense. Luke Olhoffen, that's a big loss. Larson Smith, that's a huge loss. Sevy McClure, kind of a big loss on D. Lucas Bowman, big second-line loss. Dominic Kamsu. Now, if you ask me, the biggest loss is between Kamsu and Lipa. I think Kamsu is a bigger loss than Lipa. And Connor Allen, that's kind of a big loss too. But Brentwood saying goodbye to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seniors. Wow. So, the championship games are set. Next Wednesday. Well, let's go over the finals tonight. The Henry Hine Cup Losers Bracket Final, USNBA Nashville Christian 4, Summit Page 3. And in the Preds Cup Losers Bracket Final, Mount Juliet-Green Hill-Lebanon 2, Brentwood nothing. So, next Wednesday, the championship games here on Rink A at Centennial at 7:10. The Hine Cup Final between USN and Centennial. Again, even though Centennial are the 6th seed, they will be the home team because they came out of the winner's bracket. And then at 8 o'clock on Rink 1, a.k.a. the Terry Crisprink at Bellevue, the Preds Cup Final between Mount Juliet-Green Hill-Lebanon and Ravenwood. Again, Mount Juliet are the 1, Ravenwood are the 2, but Ravenwood will be the home team because they came out of the winner's bracket. We'll have the Preds Cup Final for you next Wednesday. Be on the air at 7:50, an extended pregame, 7:50 for an 8 o'clock face-off. Wow. Wow, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Both tournaments are down to their last 2. What a night. What a night, what a postseason. And now both tournaments have their final 2. An amazing finish between USN and Summit. USN squeaking out a 4-3 win, and an amazing game between Mount Juliet and Brentwood. Mount Juliet winning 2-0. This was my last scheduled appearance at Centennial Sportsplex this season. I want to thank Frank Wright and the staff, as always, for letting me come out and do the games. Thanks to them, as always, for accommodating me. Everything else is at Bellevue for the rest of the season unless something changes, but I don't think anything will. Stay safe in the nasty weather tomorrow. And thank you all so much for listening. I'm so glad that we have a week in between games because, man, we got to let the dust settle. We have got to let the dust settle. This was a great night of action. Our finals tonight, USNBA Nashville Christian 4, Summit Page 3, and just now, Mount Juliet-Green Hill-Lebanon 2, Brentwood nothing. The championship matchups are set. I'm Michael Hackney. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a great next 6 days. Hope the bad weather tomorrow doesn't affect you. And good night, everybody, from Centennial.